Now, whereas Museveni is here struggling, looking for presidents to make his list to come and be part of his inauguration. Now, in Nigeria, it is interesting that what is taking place there. There are protests that are coming up as a result of the president Muhammadu Buhari being for not being able to keep the country secure. Now, according to the Guardian, nobody's safe. Nigeria reels from nationwide wave of deadly violence. President Mahmoud Buhari faces criticism from allies, and opposition as security crises leave hundreds dead. Now it says that Nigeria's President Buhari has come under mounting pressure from critics and allies alike as the country reels from multiple security crises that have claimed hundreds of lives in recent weeks. An alarming wave of violence has left millions in Africa's most populous country in uproar at the collapse in security. Attacks by jihadist groups in northeast have been compounded by a sharp rise in abductions targeting civilians in schools and at interstate links across Nigeria. Mass killings by bandit groups in rural towns, a reported rise in armed robberies in urban areas, and increasingly daring attacks on security forces by pro Biafran militants in the southeast have also risen. In April alone, 600 civilians were killed across the country. Wow. In April alone, 600 civilians were killed across the country, and at least 400 abducted by armed groups, according to analysis by the on Foreign Relations. The violence has left much of the country on edge, and Buhari is facing the fiercest criticism since he took office. Governors, politicians, including those in the president's own All Progressives Congress Party, APC, Nobel laureate Wole Soyinka, and civil society groups have all called for urgent measures and criticized the 70-year-old president. Among the scathing criticisms in recent weeks have come from allies. Quote, "This is the worst instability we are facing. Our security system has collapsed. It has failed." And close quote. APC Senator Smart Adeyemi said on the Senate floor last week. Quote, "The security infrastructure that we have today cannot cope with what we are facing. From the north to the south, nobody is safe. Nobody can travel 50 kilometers in our nation." Close quote. He added before breaking down in tears. Shoyinka, who in recent years has been an ardent critic of Buhari's government, has bemoaned a lack of leadership. "Unfortunately, we don't have a government. It was quite apparent. Quote, it was unfortunate, quote, unfortunately, we don't have a government. It was quite apparent, even before the end of Buhari's first term, that he is not capable of the task of being president," he told The Guardian in a recent interview. "Human lives have become expendable, and the president has shown he is not capable to protect. Close quote. The former military general came to power in 2015, promising to tackle Boko Haram and corruption, and yet some of the gains made in fighting jihadist group have come under, with multiple groups now active. Elsewhere in the country, insecurity has soared as the president has cut a muted and remote figure. Life for millions in Africa's largest economy has become increasingly hard, with Nigeria suffering two recessions in the last 5 years. The number of unemployed people has more than doubled since 2015 to 2015 to 23 million. As the economy has suffered, uh, crime and insecurity has grown. As the economy has suffered, crime and insecurity has grown more glaring. On Tuesday, distraught parents of 17 university students among the 22 people kidnapped from Greenfield University in Kaduna in northwest last month protested in the streets of the capital Abuja, accusing the government of abandoning them and pleading with authorities to secure their children's release. Serial kidnappings this year by armed groups targeting students in the north have sparked outrage and despair. Greenfield University kidnappers have killed 5 of the students after parents were only able to raise $263,000 ransom demanded. On Monday, an assailant who claimed to have carried out the abduction told Voice of America Radio that the 17 remaining students will be killed if the rest of the ransom was not paid on Tuesday. The policy of the Kaduna government is not to pay ransoms, which it says fuel a kidnap industry. But the families have been left bereft, with many critical that the policy has not been supported by an increase in local security measures. Shehu Sani, a senator for the opposition People's Democratic Party in Kaduna, said on Tuesday, we must not wait for bandits to throw the corpses of our 17 children on our doorsteps. If the government has a better solution to freeing the kidnapped students other than one embarked upon by the parents of the students, let it be put to work immediately. End quote. Reforms to restructure and better fund the police were urgently needed, Sani said. The government has just failed to live up to its responsibilities and expectations. Corrupt security officers feeding on the defense budget must be dealt with, and the welfare of troops must be upgraded. The military and the police must be better armed to match the bandits and the terrorists. Man. Oh. Well, that's interesting for Nigeria. I mean, Nigeria is has been the biggest economies and one of the biggest countries, the biggest population on the continent. Well, now what is happening there, whereby kidnaps are becoming commonplace in Nigeria, the state of insecurity? I think I remember they had a protest called the End SARS movement, where they were protesting against police brutality and things of that sort. They have said in April only 600 people were killed and murdered. Well, the president, you see, this is the president. That's the problem with Africa today. It is corruption, mismanagement, and all this kind of thing. Now, in Nigeria, apparently, many people are now calling on Buhari to actually resign. And they are coming from both aisles, that is the opposition, as well as his own party, the APC. Now, one of the most vocal voices that has been calling upon Buhari to resign is a gentleman known as a father known as a priest, a bishop, known as Father Ejike Mbaka. Is one of the people who has called on Buhari to resign. So, according to the article by African News, it says that why are Buhari's aides confronting a priest? Now, a war of words has broken out between officials of the Nigerian presidents and a priest. Father Ejike Mbaka, in a recent sermon, criticized President Buhari's security record, calling for him to resign or face impeachment. Mbaka is a spiritual director of Adoration Ministries located in Enugu State. A longtime backer of the president, Mbaka said the West African country's security had continued to deteriorate under Buhari's administration. Buhari's aides quickly responded, accusing Mbaka of becoming hostile after his appeals for government contracts were rejected by Buhari. The spokesperson for the presidency, Galba Shehu, claimed in a tweet that Mbaka had demanded contracts as compensation for supporting Buhari. In quote, "Here is the point of departure," Shehu tweeted on Friday. Father Mbaka asked for a meeting, and to the shock of the president's aides, he came accompanied by 3 contractors. The president graciously allowed them in, and to everyone's surprise, Father Mbaka asked for contracts as compensation for his support, he wrote. Mbaka is a popular preacher in eastern Nigeria. A ruling party official on Friday threatened to report the cleric to the headquarters of the Roman Catholic Church if, quote, he continued to cause disaffection for the federal government with his utterances. Nigeria has been hit by a spate of deadly militant attacks targeting military installations and civilians in the northwest. The country is also struggling to stop a wave of kidnappings targeting school and children. Now, for me, what I see on the continent of Africa, most of the things that people are facing are all the same. And the response by the leaders in power is just the same. because they don't want to be told the truth. They don't want to acknowledge their weaknesses. They don't want to acknowledge their mistakes. If people are being killed, if people are being murdered, and the state is not there to help these people, and the state is not doing any things to make sure that they keep their people safe, the people have a right to ask. They have a right to criticize the government and say, look here, you have failed in this particular aspect. But everywhere you go on the continent of Africa, Father, that gentleman in back, Father, what's his name? Father Ejike Mbaka, he was arrested and taken away. Now, before I made this video, he was actually released and kind of brought back to his people. Now, you see this as well in Uganda, where if you come out to criticize the government, all of a sudden you have become a dissident, you're a rebel, you are a terrorist. They name you with names of being terrorist. They unleash a tirade of propaganda against you, because this is the same script that these people use. Like in Uganda, if you criticize Museveni, you will have all these people coming after you that, oh, Museveni promised you this, what you wanted this from Museveni, he refused, that's why you're doing this and that. Really? The people have to be told that, look here, you lost your children, and the reason as to why Father Mbaka is speaking about that is because Father Mbaka was denied contracts. And that is the best explanation all government spokesperson can come up with. Propaganda. Even if you are supporting Buhari, you can still see the truth. You see the truth, say it. Now, that spokesperson called Sehu, if Sehu, for him, he doesn't see that the state of insecurity that is happening in Nigeria is worrying and something has to be done, I mean, then there is a problem. And it is the same problem that is in Kenya, it's the same problem that is in Uganda, it's the same problem that happens all over the continent, from Nigeria to South Africa. Leaders denying such kind of challenges. There is honor in denying such challenges. There is honor in that. If you say that, look here, I failed in this aspect, how can we work together to solve this problem? Why is it so hard for people to come together? Why is it so hard for African governments to come together and work with their counterparts and say that, okay, I acknowledge there is a challenge here, but what are your views? How can we sit down and work together? I think that is what good governance is all about. It's not all about treating your critics as enemies or as dissidents or terrorists. It's all about listening to your critics. Now, in Nigeria, like you can see, they have started saying that Father Mbaka wanted contracts and they refused to give him the contracts, which is the same thing that happens in Uganda. Bobby Wine, they have done so many things to His Excellency Robert Chagulanyi, Bobby Wine. Now, all of a sudden, the priest has been arrested. In Uganda, they get killed, kidnapped, and taken away. So you have bandits kidnapping and killing people, and then when you come out to demand your people, you are also beaten, arrested, and taken away. What is wrong with the continent? Really? So, all of a sudden, that I'm happy that at least we are seeing in Nigeria that even the allies of Buhari are telling him that, look here, mate, something is wrong. You have to do something about this. There is honor in saying that, okay, I acknowledge that I've done something wrong, and for that matter, I will resign. Let someone else take over. The problem of Africa is governance. The problem of Africa is governance. Is for leaders who don't want to leave power. Is for leaders who think that they are infallible. And all this stems from this sort of, like whenever these nation states, whenever nations like were replaced by states, modern day countries, the leaders who are now leading us on the continent, they see themselves as those kings that used to rule these different nations. They see themselves as emperors or as kings and this kind of stuff. That you're not supposed to say a word. You're not supposed to say something back to these people. You're not supposed to criticize them. You're not supposed to have an opinion. The only opinion that are accepted are opinions that praise and describe how good these people have been to their own people. So what is happening in Nigeria is really alarming. The fact that 600 people have been killed in April only, and people who come out to speak about it, they are just thrown in jail or they are arrested. They are attacked with propaganda. That's not right. And the other issue is that the issue of kidnaps, whereby the government is saying that, okay, If your person is being kidnapped, number one, we don't negotiate with kidnappers. Number two, we don't pay ransom because it will lead to the business of kidnaps. Now that is really funny. So what solutions do you have? If parents collect the money and they are trying to save their children, and then you say that, okay, as government, we do not also have a solution. We shall try as much as we can with our ineffective way of doing things that lead to murder, that lead to the killing of these kids. We shall keep doing it that way so as to make the business of kidnaps less profitable. It doesn't make sense. That, okay, they won't take ransom. Okay, I understand that if you say that they take ransom, it's going to motivate other people to start carrying out kidnaps, right? But then you say that, okay, don't pay ransom, but we also have no alternative. So literally what we are saying is, if you're kidnapped, you're in for it. You do not call on the government, you're most likely to be killed. Man, it is really sad for me. It is really sad that this is what is happening. But to avoid all this kind of things, there's no. For me, I don't know why, but I see no harm. I see no dishonor if a president, especially on the continent of Africa, comes out and say, you know what, I'm out of here. Let someone else take over this. Like other presidents have done it in Tanzania, Julius Nyerere handed over to Al Hassan Miri. He even stepped down initially. I think he stepped down twice, Nyerere, and all this kind of stuff, creating that sort of stability. That's what we need to embark on. That's what we need to improve on the continent. But this system of attacking opposition candidates, killing people and beating people and arresting people, it is the same script all over the continent. And that is why you say that's why you see most of these African leaders, they support each other. And yet we, the people, the public in Africa, we are kind of split in one way or the other. But the day we shall also wake up and support each other in one way or the other, I think the continent will change for good. Because most of these dictators or most of these leaders on the continent of Africa that are trying to entrench themselves in power, or that get into power, entrench themselves into power, what they do is they create some sort of a Telegram group or a WhatsApp group, and they start sharing ideas on how to clamp down on opposition. The biggest threat in most of these countries is not Boko Haram. The biggest threat to Buhari, as he sees it, it might not be Boko Haram. It's not even the kidnappers or this thing. It is the people who criticize him. It is the people who are the opposition. For him, those are the ones that he sees as a threat. The same thing applies in countries like Uganda. Museveni does not view the ADF, he doesn't view the terrorists as a threat. The people that he views as a threat, it is the likes of people like His Excellency Robert Kyagulanyi Ssentamu, Bobby Wine, the people who are in the opposition. And of course, these are the people that cause the list of threat, because these people, he is always with them. They have never threatened his life. They have never threatened his family. They have never threatened his property. But if Boko Haram were to be in the same distance as most of these opposition candidates are, they would end up, attacking the president of Buhari, or attacking, for that case, Uganda, terrorists, attacking Museveni. Museveni could not live with, Buhari cannot live with, the Boko Haram or the kidnappers, in the same room for a day. But he can live with the opposition candidates for an entire year in the same room. You get the point? So for me, I just don't understand that on the continent. All these people are in the same Telegram or WhatsApp group, and they are discussing these things. Buhari shares with Museveni. Museveni shares with the Paulo Biya. Paulo Biya shares with the one in Egypt. And they go on and on and on and on. And then they have a mega meeting, like when those so-called Freemasons meet in the Masonic Lodge. So they go to their Masonic Lodge in Addis Ababa and they sit and meet. Have you ever seen these people discussing policies of governance? Or have you ever seen them discussing the quality of the AU, that is the African Union, and saying that, okay, if you are a dictator, you're not going to be part of the AU. If you killing your own citizens, you're not going to be part of the AU. If you're not respecting human rights, if you're not respecting good governance, you're not going to be part of the AU. But it's just like the criteria of being part of that group in Addis Ababa is you have to be a dictator, you have to be brutal, cruelest, and you have to be so bad to your own people. You must have killed a few people in your own, I mean, you must have killed a few people in your own country to be part of the AU. It is so funny that when these people go to meet and you look in the entire room and look and say, okay, amongst all these people, who hasn't killed people, his own people? Who amongst these people hasn't killed his own people? Or who hasn't led to the murder of his own people? And he is still in power, seated with us here today. You get the point? So you see all these people seated in the Addis Ababa and you wonder. Oh my God, you really wonder. You see someone has been going to Addis Ababa for the past 35 years. And no one has the guts to stand up and say, man, I mean, look here. All these people have left Nyerere. You were here when Nyerere was here. You were here when Hosni Mubarak was here. You were here when Gaddafi was here. You were here when Mandela was here. What are you still doing here? None. No one can tell these people. So Nigeria, Godspeed. We wish you all the best. We hope you overcome this situation. And Buhari, if at all you have failed, there is honor in saying, you know what, let someone else take over. There is honor in that. I respect African leaders who acknowledge their mistakes, who acknowledge their weaknesses, and they peacefully hand over power, or they peacefully resign if they have failed. But that's really sad that is not happening. So we wish all the best to Nigeria, and we wish all the best to our fellow brothers and sisters in Uganda. That we also understand that the dictator is trying to swear himself in after rigging an election, killing his own people. 56 people were killed in November, and November 18th and 19th. Whereas in Nigeria, kidnappers and bandits are getting and kidnapping people for ransom. In Uganda, it is government business. It is the government kidnapping, abducting, killing people. So at times you just look at these things and wonder. And really wonder a lot. And then you will see African leaders coming to inaugurate Museveni, who is killing and abducting his own people. And when you go to Nigeria, people are being killed and abducted, and the government has no solutions. It is really a sad time we live in. Okay, that's all for today, guys, and thank you very much for watching. Please subscribe and share the channel for more news that is around the continent as well as Uganda. All right, have a nice day. Bye-bye.